So the purpose of this experiment is to show that yeast can ferment sugars to produce alcohol. What we mean by ferment is that they can respire in the absence of oxygen. So we are going to use some yeast, right, which is what we use to make bread, and this type of yeast is dried yeast. You can buy it in the supermarket and it looks a bit like this when it's dried. Now what I've got in the water bath here is some grape juice. I've had that warming to 37 degrees because yeast is obviously a living organism and it will function better at a warmer temperature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sample of yeast to my grape juice, because my grape juice is the source of the sugar for the yeast to feed on. We're going to mix it really well, and then I'm going to cover the surface with a balloon, because the idea being that if the yeast are able to respire and we covering it with a balloon, I create anaerobic conditions, or create conditions where fermentation will take place because I'm stopping any oxygen from getting in. Then they will feed on the sugar, and in the absence of oxygen they are going to produce carbon dioxide gas and also hopefully some alcohol. So the first step is to pop the yeast in and then give it a good shake to mix it through. You can see that we've got some sitting on the top, and then what we're going to do is pop the balloon on the top, and that will give us our fermentation conditions and hopefully collect any gas that is going to be produced. So as you can see now, the yeast has respired anaerobically, or without oxygen, which is known as fermentation. It's produced carbon dioxide gas, and our balloon is now full of carbon dioxide gas. So as you can see, a little bit more time on and even more carbon dioxide gas has been produced, and it can't go anywhere, so it's just further inflating the balloon. So the balloon serves two purposes: one, to create conditions where no oxygen is present, and two, to collect that carbon dioxide gas so that we can actually see how much has been produced. So because the yeast have been feeding on the sugar and the grape juice in the absence of oxygen, they've been carrying out the process of fermentation, which has obviously produced the carbon dioxide gas, which we can see being collected in the balloon. But the other thing that will also have been produced is alcohol. And what we can do is take the balloon off and have a sniff. So when we take the balloon off the top and have a wee smell, it smells very, very much like wine. So the only way to kind of test that, and obviously you can't smell that through the camera, but I've had a little sniff and it absolutely, definitely smells like wine rather than grape juice. And you can definitely smell the alcohol part of it. So yeast, if they feed on sugar in the absence of oxygen, will carry out the process of fermentation, and they will produce carbon dioxide gas, which has been collected there in the balloon. And we can also start to smell the alcohol that is present as well.